Hello, everyone. Hello to our listeners. Today, you may be noticing that a different voice is beginning our episode, and we're going to be doing it in a different format. Today, me, Nina, who has been a guest up until now, and Diane, my co author and partner in crime, are going to be flipping the script, and we are going to be interviewing our hosts and Alexa. Why, you might be wondering? Well, it's because of the theme. Our theme today comes from chapter 2 of the book that we've been discussing so far, Disinformation Dealing with the Disaster. And the theme is news and journalism. And Chris and Alexa happen to have both attended and I think graduated from journalism school.
Yes.
Confirm.
Yes.
We passed.
Yay. So they can give us much, much better information than me and Diane ever could on this topic. So first, I just want to preempt or introduce the episode with why did we include this in our book? Why is this a topic of discussion? We actually, you may remember if you've listened to the other episodes that in our course, that our course came first and then the book came second. We actually did not have this in the course, this whole topic. It was after we finished the course and decided to write the book that we added this chapter and this information because we realized that we were talking a lot about information, false information, things like fake news, fringe news type, stuff like that. But we had never actually defined what news actually was or what journalism actually was. And we thought that that was a gap. That was an issue. We needed to make sure that our readers understood what those things were in order to, make good decisions and evaluate information properly. So we thought, okay, let's do it. Let's take a look at news and let's take a look at how it has changed over time and what it looks like in the internet age. So that's a little background on that. I'm going to hand it over to Diane, who is going to do most of the question asking, and I'll jump in where needed.
Sounds great. So, in order to ask my first question, I'm just going to define news the way that we've partially defined it in our book or the way we found the definition before. And then I wonder if Chris and Alexa, could you tell me if you agree with this definition? So, news is usually considered to be something like stories that are interesting or unusual enough to be considered important. Over time, these stories will have appeared in various mediums. So news could be happening on print, TV, radio, and now we have the internet, of course, and social media. News generally recount things that are happening at a specific time to a targeted audience. In the past, this has really been by geographical location. And most of our societies have news in some form. And we expect that it is made up of truthful, accurate, and well-balanced information. Do you have any thoughts about this definition?
I think that was the definition for a long time. And I think now it's kind of gone pretty off the rails in terms of where you get news. As an institution, though, I don't know, Chris, what do you think?
There is actually a set of news values that I was taught in journalism school, and there were 10 of them. I won't remember them all, but I think a couple of things I would add is that most news has a timeliness factor to it. So it's recency, currency is a big factor. Cultural relevance, whether that be politics or the idea that information you need to know to participate in society better is kind of a value that good journalists hold. So I would agree with all of that. And again, these are ideal types. You wouldn't necessarily say that all news outlets hold these values, but most journalists who get into journalism with good intentions are thinking about those sorts of things.
I don't know if we ever really think about this. We think of the news industry, but we don't really think about the people within it. So like within the news industry, what is a journalist or what does a journalist even do?
I can go.
I,
It's a
I feel
spectrum.
like I want Alexa to go first.
It's a spectrum. I know people who are journalists who rewrite like slop blurbs from the internet and then put it on a shady website that then publishes, like, has some kind of bot farm going out and farms advertising revenue clicks. Um, is a journalist that can even be considered in it's weird. I don't know what it is anymore now that we also have so many people going to social media for news, because in that instance, you would be like the influencer is the journalist and the onus is on them to get the information correct. And the expectation is that if they get it wrong, the comments will sound off and then I will go and be able to look at other sources and confirm or deny that this is something I want to parrot or not. It used to be a desk job. That's crazy. I can actually, you know what, I can tell a story as well if you want to just talk about the state of news within my own, of what a journalist looks like in my own lifetime. A journalist used to be like, you could focus on specialize on one thing. It's not really the case anymore. Just to give like a kind of just, I think this was a major news network. There were a bunch of them there when I was covering something. This was just recently, just a few months ago. But I recognized one of the reporters from when I was a journalist, like when I was a student in journalism school. I recognized her from having seen her like several years earlier, because like, you know, the journalism students go to a lot of the events that the journalists are also going to. And she would always have a full team with her. And that's why everybody was like really hyped to talk to her, because I would have a guy with a camera, a guy with a boom or like a mic of some degree. She would be holding, they would usually have something around lighting. Usually there'd be some third, like some person there as well to help with something else, but usually it would be at least like that would be the team. I saw that same woman covering something, I guess this would have been last summer, but and it was on the local news. This is like mainstream Toronto news. She filmed the whole thing herself on her phone and had a microphone plugged into it, like the same microphone. Microphone lasted, but this was like a 4-person job now being done by one person and probably edited by a young intern. And like that's now journalism, I guess.
Might even be edited by the
She might have to
journalist
edit it
herself.
herself on her phone on the way back,
Yeah.
and then as soon as she's like gets enough money to freaking pay for her internet at home, just because an email, now she's fired. That's how it is. That's journalism.